Hare Krishna. Omakyana Timrandasya Chinansala Shlaka Saksun Militam Yena Tasmai Sigurve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manopistam Staptam Yena Bhutale Svamrupakadamyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shigo Shiyuda Padakamanam Shigom Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Jagajatam Saganaragnatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parjana Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagalita Shivishakam Vitam Shah He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jatpate Gopesha Kokakanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishavani Sutta Devi Pranamama Haripriye Vancha Kalptra Bisha Kripasan Vivisha Patnam Pavanabhyo Vaishnabhyo Namo Namah Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sati Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Vastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pracharane Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskachai Desatarne Srila Prabhupada Ki. So this first chapter of the seventh canto started with some doubts of Maharaj Parikshit about whether the Lord is partial or impartial. And Sukadev Goswami replies, and he tells, yes, there was Yudhishthira Maharaj had a similar doubt, and he asked this also to Narada Muni. So in the first chapter we heard mainly philosophy, how the Lord is impartial, that how everything is done by the modes of material nature, that we have heard how that the material modes are activated by the desire and the karma of the living entities, and time allows this karma to be worked out. But the Lord controls time. So we have heard in this first chapter also some analogies, stories, that we have heard the analogy of the grassworm, who out of fear of a bee was always concentrating the mind on the bee and finally became a bee. So we have learned that everyone who concentrates his mind on Krishna out of enmity, out of love, or other reasons, will become purified in due course of time. It will purify that. So then the example is there of Sisupal. Maharaj Yudhishthira brings up Sisupal because he says he was very envious to the Supreme Lord, and still he got salvation. So Narada Muni explains, yes, he became purified by fixing his mind on Krishna, and by that he attained liberation. But we should not imitate this. that because he did the Shishupal is Jai or Vijay from the spiritual world, gatekeepers of Vaikuntha. And they came to this material world with a mission factory that was organized by the Lord of Vaikuntha. That because in the spiritual world, if you have a desire, that's automatically your desires are automatically fulfilled. So they are the desire to fight with the Lord, and so therefore the Lord of Vaikuntha arranged that the four Kumars would come and curse them, so that they could go to the material world to fight with Lord Vishnu. But they are still in the spiritual position under Yoga Maya, our Acharya says. Like Arjuna was also under Yoga Maya. He was playing the role of a conditioned soul. And here we have now the chapter 2 is about Hiranyakashipu. And he plays the role of the perfect demon, the role model of the demon. So in this chapter, we will hear about the mentality of Hiranyakashipu, that how he's fixed in anger toward Lord Vishnu very intensely. So we will hear about how the demon sees the Supreme Lord. He thinks the demon is an ordinary person. Hiranyakashipu really thinks he can kill Lord Vishnu. He can kill Lord Vishnu and finishing him. He will cut off his head, and he thinks the Supreme Lord have veins and blood like others. But then we see that after Lord Vara had killed Hiranyaksha, we have heard this story in the previous cantos, that so after he has killed Hiranyaksha, then Hiranyakashipu and the sons of Hiranyaksha and the queens were very, very distressed, morose, depressed. And Hiranyakashipu wants to pacify them, want to pacify his nephews. And he starts to give philosophy. And that's astounding or astonishing that it's all true philosophy. That about we are not a body, we are a spirit soul. That how we come in this world entangled by our karma and so on. And now everything is temporary, comes and goes. And then he tells a few stories. The story of King Sujakya, who dies on the battlefield. That's the first story. And the second story is the story of the Kulinga birds. That's at the end. This is to demonstrate the foolishness of the conditioned souls. So Hiranyakashipu will become our spiritual master in the last part of this second chapter. Of course, he's as a demon, he rejects the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But still he had Vedic knowledge. That, of course, he was Jai from Vaikuntha, so he had this knowledge. That, but it was partially revealed to him by Yoga Maya to share with us and to instruct us. So now I will start with reading a summary of this chapter. And, well, we can read it together. That someone can read the 3 first paragraphs. They are on the screen now.
I'll read, Maharaj.
Yes, please do.
Chapter 2, Hiranyakashipu, the king of demons. As described in this chapter, after the annihilation of Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu's sons and his brother Hiranyakashipu were very much aggrieved. Hiranyakashipu reacted very sinfully by trying to diminish the religious activities of people in general. However, he instructed his nephews about he instructed his nephews about a history just to diminish their aggrievement. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared as the boar and killed Hiranyaksha's brother, Hiranyakashipu's brother Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu was very much aggrieved. In anger, he accused the Supreme Personality of Godhead of being partial to his devotees and derided the Lord's appearance as Varaha to kill his brother. He began to agitate all the demons and Rakshasas and disturb the ritualistic ceremonies of the peaceful sages and other inhabitants of earth. For want of performance of yajna, sacrifice, the demigods began wandering unseen on earth. After finishing the ritualistic funeral ceremonies of his brother, Hiranyakashipu began speaking to his nephews, quoting from the Shastras about the truth of life. To pacify them, he spoke as follows: My dear nephews, for heroes to die before the enemy is glorious. According to their different fruitive activities, living entities come together within this material world and are again separated by the laws of nature. We should always know, however, that the spirit soul, which is different from the body, is eternal, inadjustable, pure, all pervading, and aware of everything. When bound by the material energy, the soul takes birth in higher or lower species of life, according to varying association, and in this way receives the various types of bodies in which to suffer or enjoy. One's affliction by the conditions of material existence is the cause of happiness and distress. There are no other causes, and one should not be aggrieved upon seeing the superficial actions of karma. Thank you, Maharaj.
So we seen that last paragraph is quoting the Vedas, and very truthfully. But he plays the role as a demon. He has a certain motivation to use the Vedas for his own purposes. That we will see that later. Okay, that I read the last paragraph. These are these 2 examples he gives. Hiranyakashipu then related a historical incident concerning a king, Sujahya, who resided in a country named Ushinar. When the king was killed, his queens, overwhelmed with grief, received instructions, which Hiranyakashipu quoted to his nephews. Hiranyakashipu related an account of a Kolinga bird pierced by the arrow of a hunter while lamenting for his wife, who had also been shot by the same hunter. By narrating these stories, Hiranyakashipu pacified his nephews and other relatives and relieved them of lamentation. Thus, having been pacified, Diti and Roshabanu, Hiranyakashipu's mother and sister-in-law, engaged their mind in spiritual understanding. So that's the summary that And we will hear the story now. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shri Narada Uvacha Bhrataryevam Vinihate Arina Kodamurtina Hiranyakashipu Rajan Paryatapyat Rusachucha. Shri Narada Muni said, My dear Yudhishthira, when Lord Vishnu in the form of Varaha, the boar, killed Hiranyaksha's brother Hiranyakashipu was extremely angry and began to lament. Purport. Yudhishthira had inquired from Narad Muni why Hiranyakashipu was so envious of his own son Prahlad. Narada Muni began narrating the story by explaining how Hiranyakashipu had become a staunch enemy of Lord Vishnu. So he had killed his brother Hiranyaksha. So therefore he will say that this Vishnu is like a restless child. It has leaned towards the demigods, taking the part of the side of the demigods. So this is, here we see already, because as Jai coming from the spiritual world, there's the Lord of Vaikuntha told Jai and Vijay, you will go to 3 births, and as you desired, your mind will remain fixed on me, as here in Vaikuntha, but you will be fixed on me in extreme anger. Extreme anger. And here, Hiranyakashipu was extremely angry. You see that filled with rage and biting his lips, Hiranyakashipu gazed at the sky with eyes that blazed in anger, making the whole sky smoky. Thus he began to speak. So, purport. Srila Prabhupada writes, as usual, the demon is envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and inimical toward him. These were Hiranyakashipu's external bodily features as he considers how to kill Lord Vishnu and devastate his kingdom Vaikuntha Loka. He was really thinking he could do that. Convinced that he could kill Lord Vishnu. That thinking him someone who like himself, but maybe a little more powerful than the ordinary persons. Exhibiting his terrible teeth, fierce glance and frowning eyebrows, terrible to see, he took up his weapon, a trident, and thus began speaking to his associates, the assembled demons. Assembly of demons. Also today there are assembly of demons who try to destroy the world through either economics, ugra karma, or through wars, through production of weapons always more and more powerful. This is the work of the demons. 4-5. O Danavas and Daityas, O Dvimurta, Triyaksa, Sambar and Satabau, O Ayagriva, Namuchi, Paka, and Ilvala, O Viprachiti, Puloman, Sakuni, and other demons, all of you kindly hear me attentively, and then act according to my words without delay. Act according to my word. I'm in control. That the other demons are my servants. Or that my insignificant enemies, the demigods, have combined to kill my very dear and obedient well-wisher, my brother Hiranyaksha. Although the Supreme Lord Vishnu is always equal of both of us, namely the demigods and the demons. This time, being devoutly worshipped by the demigods, he has taken their side and helped them kill Hiranyaksha. That can someone read the purport, please?
As stated in the Bhagavad Gita 9:29, Samoham Sarva Bhuteshu, the Lord is equal to all living entities. Since the demigods and demons are both living entities, how is it possible that the Lord was partial to one class of living beings and opposed to another? Actually, it is not possible for the Lord to be partial. Nonetheless, since the demigods, the devotees always strictly follow the Supreme Lord's orders, because of sincerity, they are victorious over the demons, who know that the Supreme Lord is Vishnu, but do not follow his instructions. Because of constantly remembering the Supreme Personality of God is Vishnu, the demons generally attain Sayajya Mukti after death. The demon Hiranyakashipu accused the Lord of being partial because the demigods worshipped him. But in fact, the Lord, like the government, is not partial at all. The government is not partial to any citizen, but if a citizen is law abiding, he receives abundant opportunities from the state laws to live peacefully and fulfill his real interest.
So, those who are following the laws of God, they get the benefit of following these laws. That they are good citizens. That so Srila Prabhupada explains the laws of God are encoded in as the laws of Dharma. Dharma means the laws of God, and that cannot be changed. That, but the demons do not recognize that, and that's mentioned in the 16th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. The main difference between the demons and the demoniac, that Yashastra vitimuchrita vartate kamakarata nasasidam avapnoti nasukam na paramratim. He who discards scriptural injunction and acts according to his own whims attains neither perfection nor happiness nor the supreme destination. Tasma shastram pramanam te karyakara vyafastita khatva shastra vidanuktam karma kartam idarasi. One should therefore understand what is duty and what is not duty by the regulations of the scriptures. Knowing such rules and regulations, one should act that he may be elevated. So this is the difference between the demons and the devotees. Hare Krishna. Now, this is how Hiranyakashipu sees the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has given up his natural tendency of equality toward the demons and demigods. Although he is a Supreme Person now influenced by Maya, so he's influenced by Maya. He has assumed the form of a boar to please his devotees, the demigod just as a restless child leans toward someone. I shall therefore sever Lord Vishnu's head from his trunk by my trident, and with the profuse blood from his body, I shall please my brother Hiranyaksha, who was fond of sucking blood. Thus I shall too be peaceful. Not sure that will make him peaceful, but it's something which is not achievable. That it is mentioned in the Shisa Upanishad, Ashnaviram. The Lord has no veins, no blood. So it's not possible. And the Lord is influenced by Maya. So many impersonalists, they say the same thing. The Krishna, they say, is appeared and is influenced by the material modes. That his body is made of Maya, material energy, they think. Although Krishna says clearly in Bhagavad Gita that I appear through my Atma Maya, my spiritual energy, they think is material and is therefore a temporary manifestation of Brahman through material nature. That it doesn't make sense. But Krishna says, Avajananti mamuda, manam dhanam ashritam. They think they think Krishna is an ordinary person, maybe a little powerful than others. Like Kamsa was thinking, why are they afraid of Krishna? Why are they worshipping him? Because he lifted a pebble called Govardhan, or he killed some animals. But it's a mentality fraught with many defects, and Srila Prabhupada started to speak about that in the purport. Can someone read the first 2 paragraphs of the purport, please?
The defect of the demoniac mentality is expressed in this verse very clearly. Hiranyakashipu thought that Vishnu also becomes partial like a child whose mind is not steady or resolute. The Lord can change his mind at any time, Hiranyakashipu thought, and therefore his words and activities are like those of children. Actually, because the demons are ordinary human beings, their minds change, and being materially conditioned, they think that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is conditioned also. As the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 9.11, Avajananti Mangmura Manusing Tanuasritam, fools deride me when I descend in a human form. Demons always think that Vishnu can be killed. Therefore, being absorbed in thoughts of Vishnu's form to kill him, at least they have the opportunity to think of Vishnu unfavorably. Although they are not devotees, their thinking of Vishnu is effective, and thus they generally attain Sayuya Mukti. Because the demons consider the Supreme Lord an ordinary living being, they think that they can kill Lord Vishnu as one might kill an ordinary person. Another fact disclosed herein is that demons are very much fond of sucking blood. Indeed, all of them are meat eaters and bloodsuckers.
So Hiranyakashipu accused the Supreme Lord of having a restless mind, like that of a small child, who can be induced to do anything if simply offered some cakes and laddus. Indirectly, this indicates the true position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who says in Bhagavad Gita, so Prabhupada uses this to say that's true. Krishna says, Patram Pushpam Phalamtyam Yomi Bhaktya Prayachati Tatyam Bhaktyuparitam Asnami Prayatatma. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, fruit, or water, I will accept it. The Lord accepts the offering of the devotees because of their transcendental love, because they are in love with the Supreme Lord. They do not eat anything without offering it first to the Lord. The Lord does not anchor for a small leaf of flower. He has enough to eat. Indeed, he is feeding all living entities. Nonetheless, because he is very merciful and is Bhaktavatsal, very favorable to the devotees, he certainly eats whatever they offer with love and devotion. This quality should not be misjudged to be childish. The highest quality of the Supreme Lord is that he is Bhaktavatsal. In other words, he is always extremely pleased with his devotees. As for the word Maya, when used in reference to the dealings of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his devotees, this means affection. The actions of the Lord to favor his devotees are not disqualifications but signs of his natural affection. So, someone can read the last paragraph.
As for
Yes, please.
the blood of the Lord Vishnu, since there is no possibility of serving Lord Vishnu's head from his body, there is no question of blood, but the garland that decorated Vishnu's body is red as blood. When the demon achieves Sayuja Mukti and leave behind their sinful activities, they are blessed by Vishnu's garland, which is red like blood. After attaining Sayuj Mukti, the demons are sometime promoted to the Vaikuntha world, where they receive the reward of the Lord's garland vision.
So, this 7-8 will now go to the PowerPoint. So, Canto 7, Chapter 2. So why did Hiranyakashipu become a staunch enemy of Lord Vishnu? Who wants to answer this question?
Because Lord Vishnu killed Hiranyakashipu.
Yes, he killed his brother. And he seemed to take the side of the demigods. So Hiranyakashipu, his concentration was on the Lord in anger. So that is very clear. That was predicted by the Lord of Vaikuntha. That Lord Narayan predicted that their minds would remain concentrated on him, but in extreme anger. So that is true. Hiranyakashipu's criticism of the Lord. So what is he saying about the Lord? The Supreme Personality of Godhead has given up his natural tendency of equality toward demons and demigods. Although the Supreme Person, now influenced by Maya, has assumed the form of a boar to please his devotees, the demigods, just as a restless child leans towards someone. So why did Lord Vara appear? He appeared from the nose of Brahma. And what was the problem? Brahma had created Svayambhuva Manu and Sutapa. No, it's not Sutapa. That's, I forgot her name. Svayambhuva Manu and his wife. That Satarupa, right? That and these were the first human beings. It was a great achievement, and all the demigods applauded. But then Satarupa and Svayambhuva Manu said, yes, okay, you order us to procreate and so, but we need a place to live, and the earth is down in the Garbhodaka ocean, in the nether regions. So what to do? And so Brahma was thinking and was praying to the Supreme Lord, please, I cannot solve that, help. And then Varadev appeared from his nose. So he appeared to help the demigods, so that the Satarupa and Svayambhuva Manu could have a place to live. Yes. And from this there are two factors here. It says, yes, is influenced by Maya. So that's a wrong idea. That Lord Krishna, in the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, clearly says, and in many other verses, that so Ayopisan avyayatma bhutanam ishvaropisan prakatim svamadistaya svambhavan atma mayaya. Atma maya. I appear in my original transcendental form by my Ayopisan avyayatma, original transcendental form, by my eternal energy, Atma Maya. And Lord Krishna in many other verses explains that I'm above the modes. 7th chapter 13, he says, yes, that he complains there that it says, I created these 3 modes, goodness, passion and ignorance, and I'm above these modes, and therefore no one knows me. So he's above Maya, he's the controller of Maya. 2 misconceptions of the demons, and it's just like a restless child leans towards someone. So that's, Prabhupada in the purport explains, that's typical for the demon. The demon is, his mind is always flickering, restless, always thinking in this duality. How to defeat the enemy? This person has done this to me, what I'm going to do. And always busy in this duality of the material world, enemies and friends, enjoyment and not wanting distress, that always busy with that I want to have a comfortable position in this world, that's I want to enjoy. I don't want disease. I want to succeed in my exams and get a nice family so that I can enjoy. This is the demon. All these temporary things, that is their interest. So he thinks the Lord can change his mind. And that's the demon. You never know what they think. one moment they can think I do that, and they can shift from one moment to another. And it thinks Krishna is like us, that his mind changes, he's conditioned. So he think is an ordinary conditioned soul. Yeah. So Hiranyakashipu's criticism of the world, of the Lord, so he really thinks, demons always think that Krishna can be killed. Interesting. As for Rudira, or the blood of Lord Vishnu, since there is no possibility of severing Lord Vishnu's head from his body, there is no question of blood. She is Upanishad. Asnaviram, the Lord has no veins. Yaduaj Krishna Prabhu, please enlighten us.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, I have a question.
Yes.
Maharaj, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna said that you cut the attachment with a sort of knowledge. But here we see Hiranyakashipu has a very high knowledge of the scripture. Yet he remained as a demon to kill Vishnu. How is that, Maharaj?
Well, that we see in this world that there are great scholars and they know the Vedas. But they use the Vedas for their purposes. And that we will discuss a little further. So we will come back to that in a few moments.
Okay, man. Thank you, man.
So the Lord is Bhaktavatsal, very favorable to his devotees. This is not childish. The proof of this is that he accepts only what is offered with love. So that is our paradharma. Savaipum saparodharma yato bhaktiradokshe ahait kapatiya yatma shubhashidati. This pure devotional service, which is without interruption, and without any ulterior motivation, that gives pleasure to the soul. So that is the only thing to get happy, is performing devotional service. And Krishna accepts what is offered with love, and because he's pleased, we become pleased as his paard and parsons. Lord Krishna was invited by Duryodhana and he offered so many preparations, but it was not offered with love. It was just a diplomatic action, and Krishna did not accept anything. So what is the difference between the demigods and the demons? The demigods follow Dharma, the instruction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the demons, they always plan to disturb or kill him. We should note, this is in Satya Yuga. The Satya Yuga, where everyone is peaceful. There you have this demon. So even in Satya Yuga, it's not the ideal age to live in. There are also demons like Hiranyakashipu. So therefore this world is, material world is, Tukalayangam Shashvatam, also in Satya Yuga. But let's see. Hiranyakashipu's plan to kill the Lord. We will read that now first, go back, and then we will see further. Oh, Lila Maya Rukmini, please.
Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, in the previous chapter, we saw that there are asuras, demons, rakshasas, and yakshas. So, what would be the difference between the rakshasas and the asuras? Because there it said that mode of passion is the demons, the asuras, and mode of ignorance is the rakshasas and yakshas. So, what is the difference between the rakshasas and the asuras?
That they are types of asuras. The rakshasas and the yakshas are types of asuric species, and Lord Krishna speaks of that in the 16th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. That yeah. Tanam Tvisitakaram Samsaresya Naradanam Kshipam Ajasrama Supam Ashurish Eva Jonisu. Those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest among men, are perpetually cast into the ocean of material existence, into various demoniac species of life. So this demoniac species of life, as in Sanskrit, is asuras. And these are type of asuras. We have different types of asuras. The rakshasas, they have mystic power to change their form, but they are man-eaters. So that's certainly a demoniac species. And the yakshas, they are interested in wealth. But it's not that all the yakshas are demoniac. That the most elevated yaksha is Kuvera. Krishna says, among the yakshas, I'm Kuvera. This who is the treasurer of the demigods. But anyway, they want wealth, and these are and generally these are the asuric species Krishna speaks about in the Bhagavad Gita. You have different types. I hope that helps. Hare Krishna. Okay, then we go to text 9. When the root of a tree is cut and the tree falls down, its branches and twigs automatically dry up. Similarly, when I have killed this diplomatic Vishnu, the demigods, for whom Vishnu is the life and soul, will lose the source of their life and wither away. So these are the plans. His plans how to kill all these demigods and Vishnu. His plan to kill Vishnu. He calls him the diplomatic Vishnu. Because diplomatic means we are talking nicely, but we have an ulterior motive to achieve a purpose. If we are nice with others, with a purpose to achieve our goals. So the difference between the demigods and the demons is here explained. The demigods always follow the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whereas the demons simply plan to disturb or kill him. Nevertheless, Sometimes the demons very much appreciate the full dependence of the demigods upon the mercy of the Lord. This is indirect glorification of the demigods by the demons. That interesting. Text 10. When I'm engaged in the business of killing Vishnu, go to the planet Earth, which is flourishing due to Brahminical culture and a Kshatriya government. These people engage in austerity, sacrifice, Vedic study, regulative vows, and charity, destroy all the people thus engaged. So, is Hiranyakashipu's purpose. This is a long purport. Can someone read the first paragraph, please?
Hiranyakashipu's main purpose was to disturb the demigods. He planned first to kill Lord Vishnu, so that with Lord Vishnu's death, the demigods would automatically weaken and die. Another of his plans was to disturb the residents of the planet Earth. Peace and prosperity of the residents of Earth and all the other planets were maintained by the Brahmanas and Kshatriyas. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 4.13, Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam guna karma vibhagasha. According to the three modes of material nature and the work ascribed to them, the four divisions of human society were created by me. On all the planets, there are different types of residents, but the Lord recommends, referring especially to the planet Earth, which is inhabited by human beings, that society be divided into four varnas: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. Before the advent of Lord Krishna on this earth, it is understood that the earth was managed by the Brahmanas and Kshatriyas. The duty of the Brahmanas is to cultivate samaha, peacefulness, damaha, self-control, titiksha, tolerance, satyam, truthfulness, socham, cleanliness, and arjavam, simplicity, and then to advise the Kshatriya kings how to rule the country or planet. Following the instructions of the Brahmanas, the Kshatriyas should engage the populace in austerity, sacrifices, Vedic study, and adherence to the rules and regulations established by Vedic principles. They should also arrange for charity to be given to the Brahmanas, sannyasis, and temples. This is the godly arrangement of Brahminical culture.
Thank you.
Thank you.
People are inclined to offer jahya because unless sacrifice are offered, there will be insufficient rain. Jahya bhavati parnyanya, Bhagavad Gita, which will hamper agricultural activities. With parnyanya anasambhava. By introducing Brahminical culture, therefore, a Kshatriya government should engage people in perform jahya, studying the Vedas and giving charity. Thus the people will receive their necessities for life very easily, and there will be no disturbance in society. In this regard, Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 3.12, Istambogam evo deva dasyante jahyabhavitaha ter datan aprabdapyebhyo yo bhunkte stenaivasa. In charge of the various necessities of life, the demigods, being satisfied by the performance of jahya, sacrifice, supply all necessities of man, but he who enjoys this gift without offering them to the demigods in return is certainly a thief. So, can someone read the next paragraph? The demigods are authorized.
The demigods are authorized supplying agents who act on behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu. Therefore, they must be satisfied by performance of prescribed yajnas. In the Vedas, there are different kinds of yajnas prescribed for different kinds of demigods, but all are ultimately offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For one who cannot understand what the Personality of Godhead is, sacrifice to the demigods is recommended.
According to the different material qualities of persons concerned, different types of yajnas are recommended in the Vedas. Worship of different demigods is also on the same basis, namely according to different qualities. For example, the meat eaters are recommended to worship goddess Kali, the ghastly form of material nature, and before goddess, the sacrifice of animals is recommended. But for those in the mode of goodness, the transcendental worship of Vishnu is recommended. Ultimately, all yajnas are meant for gradual promotion to the transcendental position. For ordinary men, at least 5 yajnas known as Panchamaha yajna are necessary.
Yes, and we see that even the demons, Hiranyakasipu, Hiranyaksha, but also Ravan, and all these Rakshasas on Sri Lanka, they knew the Vedas. They knew Vedic culture, and they applied Vedic culture. But they did not accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But they knew Vedic philosophy also. But they used it for their own purposes. We see that the son of Ravan, that he was doing jahyas in the mountains by Brahmins to get special powers. When Ravan went to the battlefield, Rakshasi Brahmins were chanting the Vedas to get auspiciousness. So these demons also knew I have to do sacrifice. Otherwise, I can be successful in my demoniac plans. So they used the knowledge of the Vedas to fulfill their demoniac plans. We will see in the next chapter, Hiranyakasipu will perform severe austerities. That is his sacrifice, not the sacrifice mentioned in the Vedas, but he did sacrifice to please Lord Brahma. So they had Vedic knowledge. They followed Vedic culture. Ravan was wearing a dhoti, and they had sacrifices and chanting of the Vedic hymns. And that is interesting. And therefore, these are big demons. They know where the power comes from. So yes, we have here now. Can someone read the last 2 paragraphs which are on the screen? One should know.
One should know, however, that all the necessities of life that human society requires are supplied by the demigod agents of the Lord. No one can manufacture anything. Consider, for example, all the eatables of human society. These eatables include grains, fruits, vegetables, milk, and sugar for persons in the mode of goodness, and also eatables for the non-vegetarians, such as meats, none of which can be manufactured by men. Then again, take for example, heat, light, water, and air, which are also necessities of life. None of them can be manufactured by human society. Without the Supreme Lord, there can be no profuse sunlight, moonlight, rainfall, or breeze, without which no one can live. Obviously, our life is dependent on supplies from the Lord. Even for our manufacturing enterprises, we require so many raw materials like metal, sulfur, mercury, manganese, and so many essentials, all of which are supplied by the agents of the Lord, with the purpose that we should make proper use of them to keep ourselves fit and healthy for the purpose of self-realization, leading to the ultimate goal of life, namely liberation from the material struggle for existence. This aim of life is attained by performance of yajnas. If we forget the purpose of human life and simply take supplies from the agents of the Lord for sense gratification and become more and more entangled in material existence, which is not the purpose of creation, certainly we become thieves, and therefore we are punished by the laws of material nature. A society of thieves can never be happy, for they have no aim in life. The gross materialist thieves have no ultimate goal of life. They are simply directed to sense gratification, nor do they have knowledge of how to perform yajnas. Lord Chaitanya, however, inaugurated the easiest performance of yajna, namely the Sankirtan yajna, which can be performed by anyone in the world who accepts the principles of Krishna consciousness. Hiranyakashipu planned to kill the inhabitants of earth so that yajnas would stop and the demigods, being disturbed, would die automatically. When Lord Vishnu, the Yagneshwara, was killed, these were the demoniac plans of Hiranyakashipu, who was expert in such activities.
So yes, these are the plans of Hiranyakashipu. Let's first see now. Go back to the So this is just describe Hiranyakashipu's plan to kill Lord Vishnu. So Hiranyakashipu planned to kill the inhabitants of the earth so that Jahya would stop, and the demigods, being disturbed, would die automatically. When Lord Vishnu, the Jagnesvar, was killed. These were the demoniac plans of Hiranyakashipu, who was expert in such activities. So he wanted to stop all these sacrifices to Lord Vishnu. Because he was thinking, Lord Vishnu depends on these sacrifices. And by that he planned to kill all the inhabitants of the earth. Let's see for the next slide. Describe Hiranyakashipu's plan to kill Lord Vishnu. That's text 11. We will first read text 11. Up. Next. This. The basic principle of Brahminical culture is to satisfy Vishnu, the personification of sacrificial and ritualistic ceremonies. Lord Vishnu is the personified reservoir of all religious principles and is the shelter of all the demigods, the great Pitas and the people in general. When the Brahmanas are killed, no one will exist to encourage the Kshatriyas to perform Jahyas, and thus the demigods, not being appeased by Jahya, will automatically die. So his goal was to get rid of these Brahmins. They are the head that stop these sacrifices. And that in the Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada speaks about the sacrifice for this age. And that in this age we don't have qualified Brahmins. Kala Sutras Sambhava, because the population of the modern world consists mostly of Sudras, the Brahminical culture is now lost and is extremely difficult to re-establish in a proper way. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya has recommended the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, which will revive Brahminical culture very easily. Harinama, Harinama, Harinameva, Kevalam. Kalanashteva, Nashteva, Nashteva, Gati, Anyata. Because of the increment in the demonic population, people have lost Brahminical culture. Nor is there Satriya government. Instead, the government is democracy in which any Sudra can be voted into taking up the governmental reins and capture the power to rule. Because of the poisonous effects of Kali Yuga, the Shastra says, Dayapayesharachasya, the government will adopt the politics of dasyus, or plunderers. Thus, there will be no instructions from the Brahmins, and even if there are Brahminical instructions, there will be no Kshatriya rulers who can follow them. Aside from Satya Yuga, even formerly, in the days when demons were flourishing, Hiranyakashipu planned to destroy the Brahminical culture and the Kshatriya government, and thus create chaos all over the world. Although in Satya Yuga this plan was very difficult to execute, in Kali Yuga, which is full of Sudras and demons, the Brahminical culture is lost and can be revived only by the chanting of the Mantra. So what Srila Prabhupada is writing here, that what Hiranyakashipu wanted to achieve in Kali Yuga, it's already achieved in but in Satya Yuga. What Hiranyakashipu wanted to achieve in Satya Yuga, it's already there in Kali Yuga. The Brahminical culture is destroyed, and there is no Kshatriya government. But our purpose as the Hare Krishna movement is to help to revive that culture. And that starts by performing Jahya, the chanting of this mantra is said here. Therefore, the Krishna conscious movement, or the Hare Krishna movement, has been inaugurated to revive Brahminical culture very easily, so that people may become happy and peaceful in this life and prepare for elevation in the next. In this regard, Srila Madhvacharya quotes this verse from the Brahmanda Purana. Vipra Chahnade Molam to Hari ite asuram matam Hare e sarvasya molam samyam mato nripa. O king, the demons think that Hari, Lord Vishnu, exists because of the Brahmins and Jahya. But factually, Hari is the cause of everything, including the Brahmins and Jahya. Therefore, through the popularizing of Hari Kirtan, through the popularizing of Hari Kirtan, or the Sankirtan movement, the Brahminical culture and Kshatriya government will automatically come back, and people will be extremely happy. Prabhupada said this is our purpose. So it said, therefore, Hiranyakashipu instructed all the demons, immediately go wherever there is good protection for the cows and the Brahmins, and wherever the Vedas are studied in terms of Varnashram principles. Set fire to those places and cut the trees there, which are the source of life. That's the source of life of Vishnu, and we will cut it. That was his plan. So Prabhupada in the purport explains that factually, Hiranyakashipu explains here the perfect human civilization which he wants to destroy. So we have the Brahmins are very learned and self-realized, and they are instructing the Kshatriyas how to rule nicely, and the Vaishyas, they provide food and protect the cows and give all the necessities to the people what they need. And the Sudras, they are helping in that. But in this age we have slaughterhouses, the cows are not protected, the Vedic civilization is lost, lost. These are the acts of the demons. That's demoniac civilization. Prabhupada in the last paragraph writes that also the trees should be given protection. One should not cut trees for industrial enterprises, for publishing newspapers and so on, which is all demoniac propaganda. That no, it should be used for glorifying the Supreme Lord, for that. So work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed, otherwise work binds one to this material world. That is the point. Chaknakta karma no yatralokayam karma bandhana. That's the basic principle 3.9 in Bhagavad Gita. That yes. That about the cutting of trees. We go back first to the plan of Hiranyakashipu to kill Lord Vishnu. So the basic principle of Brahminical culture is to satisfy Lord Vishnu, the personification of sacrificial and ritualistic ceremonies. Lord Vishnu is the personified reservoir of all religious principles, and is the shelter of all the demigods, the great Pitas, and the people in general. When the Brahmas are killed, no one will exist to encourage the Kshatriyas to perform Jahyas, and thus the demigods, not being appeased by Jahya, will automatically die. That was his idea. But Hiranyakashipu planned to destroy the Brahminical culture and the Kshatriya government, and thus create chaos all over the world. That was the plan. That's good. So what is wrong with Hiranyakashipu's preaching? We will hear first his preaching. That his preaching will now start. That in the, I think it's in the next verse. If we go to 13. Yeah, so the demons begin being fond of disastrous activities, took Hiranyakashipu's instructions on their heads with great respect and offered him obeisance. According to directions, they engaged in envious activities directed against all living beings. Can someone read this short purport, please?
The followers of demoniac principles, as described here, are thoroughly envious of the general populace. In the present day, scientific advancement exemplifies such envy. The discovery of nuclear energy has been disastrous to people in general, because demons all over the world are manufacturing nuclear weapons. The word Kadanapriya is very significant in this regard. The demoniac persons who want to kill the Vedic culture are extremely envious of the feeble citizens, and they act in such a way that ultimately their discoveries will be inauspicious for everyone. Jagato Hitaha. The 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita fully explains how the demons engage in sinful activities for the destruction of the populace.
Yeah, that includes Ugra Karma, that so many industries, pollution, and so on. And this pollution is everywhere. And the weather changes, climate changes, and so on. That's all caused by this Ugra Karma. So the demons set fire to the cities, villages, pasturing grounds, croplands, gardens, agricultural fields, and natural forest. They burned the hermitages of the saintly persons, the important mines that produced valuable metals, the residential quarters of the agriculturalists, the mountain villages and the villages of cow protectors, the cowherdmen. They also burned the government capitals. So these are the activities described here that just for Krishna Prabhu. Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj Pranam. Maharaj, my question is, in the previous purport, text 13, it is mentioned that discovery of nuclear energy has been disastrous to people in general because they are manufacturing nuclear weapons. I recently read in the news that the big tech companies like Google, Facebook, OpenAI, etc., they are trying to use nuclear energy for powering their systems so that they can generate AI models. Because to use these new AI softwares or just in general AI, it requires large amount of energy. Now it's understandable that when the demons use it, they use it for their own purpose. But if the devotees use it, let's just say for preparing a Bhagavatam class, I know many devotees are doing that using AI to generate Bhagavatam classes. So is that good to do so? Because to use all these, basically we are harming Mother Earth in one way, if you look at it, but we are also using it in Krishna's service. So is this appropriate or not?
That artificial intelligence, yeah. The problem is that it is fundamental atheistic. That if you ask artificial intelligence who is Krishna, they will speak about mythology. So that's not good. That it is better to prepare our Bhagavatam class without these things. We don't need that. Because our Bhagavatam class should not be a scholarly presentation. It's not an intellectual presentation. No, it should be the explaining the principles as Prabhupada explained them, and share our realizations and how to bring this in practice. That artificial intelligence cannot help with that. So it may be even dangerous because artificial intelligence has its own priorities, which are not our priorities. It's very subtle. That it may destroy our faith at the end. But artificial intelligence you can use for, to a certain extent, certainly for editing text. But even that, sometimes, I have seen that artificial intelligence changes words which we are used to use in the English language because Prabhupada used them. So they're editing, but they are editing out Srila Prabhupada's stamp on it. So it's very subtle, but it's very dangerous at the end. So I think we should not use that or use it with great discrimination. It may be dangerous. But as you said, the point that I agree is that things nuclear energy could also be used in a positive way. That's true. But mostly that's not the case. Here in Belgium we have nuclear. We use nuclear energy here to produce electricity and so on. But then wherefore is that electricity used? It's used for Ugra Karma. That not for pious purposes. So it's also it's not used as sacrifice for Vishnu. So we have to be careful what these so-called scientists create, and the artificial intelligence adds serious dangers also for devotees. Better to keep distance from it or use it with great discrimination. That's my opinion. Oh, just Sri Krishna.
Okay. Thank you, Maharaj.
Yeah. So the demons set fires to cities, pasturing grounds, cow pens, gardens, agricultural fields, and natural forests. They burned the hermitages of the saintly persons, the important mines that produce valuable metals, the residential quarters of agricultural, the mountains, villages, and the villages of cow protectors, the cowherd men. They also burned the government capitals. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, it is our duty to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the entire society should be structured so that everyone can please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But in this age, Nativ to Svatiyatimi Vishnu, people do not know what's the goal of life, that the goal of life is to please Lord Vishnu. They are like demons. They simply plan to kill Lord Vishnu and be happy by sense gratification, which is Fata Morgana. And then we have 15. So there are two verses more about their activities. I will read them. And then after that we will pause and then hear the preaching of Hiranyakashipu to his nephews. Some of the demons took digging instruments and broke down the bridges, the protective walls, and the gates, gopuras, or the cities. Some took axes, began cutting the important trees that produced mango, jackfruit, and other sources of food. Some of the demons took firebrands and set fire to the residential quarters of the citizens. Prabhupada writes in the Prabhupada, the cutting of trees is generally prohibited. In particular, trees that produce nice fruit for the maintenance of human society should not be cut. In different countries, there are different types of fruit trees. In India, the mango and jackfruit trees are prominent, and in other places, there are mango trees, the jackfruit trees, coconut trees, and berry trees. Any tree that produces nice fruit for the maintenance of the people should not be cut at all. That is Shastric injunction. So I remember 15 years ago in Mayapur, that I lived for some time in Mayapur, and it was just the time that they started, because where the big temple of the Vedic planetarium is now, there was a park before, and they had to remove the park and to replace it, to move it to the other side of the present temple. And for that they had to remove trees, and And devotees were going to the trees and praying to the trees, please forgive us that we want to build a big temple here, forgive us before cutting these trees. So it's something for in a devotee's heart. A devotee even does not want to cut any tree. Thus, disturbed again and again by unnatural occurrences caused by the followers of Hiranyakashipu, all the people had to cease the activities of Vedic culture. Not receiving the result of Jagya, the demigods also became disturbed. They left their residential quarters in the heavenly planets and, unobserved by the demons, began wandering on the planet Earth to see the disasters. Purport. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, the performance of Jagya brings reciprocal good fortune for the human beings and the demigods. When the performance of Jagya were stopped by the disturbance of the demons, the demigods were naturally bereft of the results of Jagya and hampered in executing their respective duties. Therefore they came down to the planet Earth to see how people had become disturbed and considered what to do. Okay, it's now at your side 5 o'clock, right? We will pause till 5:15, and then hear Hiranyakashipu's philosophy, which is Vedic philosophy, but he has a purpose. He uses the Vedas for his own purposes. But at the same time, it are very valuable instructions for all of us. And not only for the purpose that Hiranyakashipu has in mind. Good. We will stop now and resume in 50 minutes. Thank you very much.
Recording stopped.